happy Saturday, everyone. I hope that you are having an amazing day so far. We are here to talk about Sickle Cell Awareness Month. It's very important for us to discuss this month because it's something that we as a family collectively deal with. But I had someone ask me the other day, why did I started juicing? What brought about the idea of juicing? And I thought about, have I ever told anybody my why? And so I felt that it was appropriate to share my why, but also because it's Sickle Cell Awareness Month and we are coming to the end of a week long pain crisis. So I felt that it was appropriate to have this conversation now. And since we are still today, still dealing with slightly a little bit of pain, where we are today.
Today.
Yeah.
Scale 1 to 10.
1 to 10 today.
Maybe like a 4 or 5.
So we're on like a pain scale of like a 4 or 5 today compared to what? Monday, Tuesday?
7 or 8.
7 or 8. And we had a hospital visit this week. So we've been at home all week treating the pain crisis. And so I felt like sometimes we want to give people, the the glitter and the glam of the business or our why. Sometimes people have all these elaborate stories of their why, but what happens when your why is birthed from a place of pain, a place of uncertain, a place of not knowing, a place of prayer? All these things are part of my why. And so we haven't done this in a few years, right? A few years that we haven't sat down to talk about Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And I felt it was important to do so. So I have a very special guest. He's the youngest of our tribe, our young man. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself. So you're gonna tell him who you are, where you go to school, how old you are. What do you want to tell him about you?
So my name is Johnny Loki Simmons. I go to North Cobb High School. I'm in ROTC. I'm 16 years old. Turning 17 in December. Uh, you know, I have sickle cell, as mom said. It's, it's a struggle sometimes, but I thug it out. You know, but yeah, it's a little bit about me.
So, as he said, he's a Johnny. His name is Johnny Simmons, and he's 16. He is a junior at North Cobb High School. And he's your active teenage boy. We don't shelter him. We don't baby him. We don't, do things like, oh, you can't do this. You can't be active. But we educate him on his condition and the do's and the don'ts of what you should or should not do, how to treat it, the importance of things that we're going to talk about today, like staying hydrated, all these things. But I'll share a little bit about my knowledge of, or I would say, my first encounter with someone who had sickle cell disease prior to me even meeting a Johnny. A Johnny is my son. I don't have stepchildren. Me and my husband have 5 children. I was blessed to become a Johnny's mother when he was 2. He's 16. For 14 years putting up with you. 14 years I've been blessed to be his mom. And so my first real encounter with someone having sickle cell or having even being exposed to a sickle cell pain crisis is my cousin Michelle. Her name is Michelle Merriweather, and her son Michael, which is my cousin. He has sickle cell, so I call her BG1, but she's Michelle Merriweather. She's an educator back at home in Sumter County, Alabama, where I'm from, where I grew up. But her son Michael's an adult now, but Michael has sickle cell, and I can remember the times when she would constantly be at the hospital with him, constantly. So the closest sickle cell clinic to Livingston, Alabama, where we lived, was Jackson, Mississippi. So she would be spending sometime days, sometime a week at a time in Jackson, Mississippi, with him in the hospital, battling pain crisis. And so um, that was my first real encounter with someone who had sickle cell disease. Now, I've known people who had sickle cell traits, and sometimes people with traits can have or experience sometimes little mild pain, but it's not the same significant as someone who has sickle cell disease and they have pain crisis. So, me watching my cousin Michelle take care of her son Mike, and been to the hospital a few times when they were there, but I've never experienced it from a mother's perspective on what it looks like to see your child in pain or when they have pain crises in different areas. I saw it from a cousin's perspective, but I never saw it from a parent perspective. So, in some ways, I feel that God allowed me to see what she went through with Mike because he was preparing me for what I would have to go through, my husband and I would have to go through with a Johnny. So, this is not to um, make anyone like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. No, but it is to bring awareness to you that sickle cell disease is real, but there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about what sickle cell is or sickle cell disease. So that's what we want to talk about today. To bring awareness to sickle cell, make sure you know your status as it relates to sickle cell. Sometimes people have traits and they don't even know it, or their children have traits, or how do someone develop sickle cell disease? All these things are things we'll talk about very briefly with you today. But I want to talk from perspective since it's fresh. When I mean fresh, mean a Johnny is ending a pain crisis right now. So we've been out all week from school, at the hospital this week, having pain crisis. And so, Johnny, I want you to talk to them about what does it feel like when you're starting to have a pain crisis.
Um, okay, so like when I'm starting this pain crisis, you know, it's to say I'm having a normal day, RTC or something, and I'm just running to do push up stuff. So usually at the start, it's kind of like a mild pain, and if it's not like treated like right away, basically, then the pain will get like more severe over time. So let's say it doesn't get treated the first day or something. So the next day it'll be like a sharper pain in whatever body part where the sickle cell is happening in. And so usually I'll just take some like Advil, hydrocodone, stuff like that, and you know, relax basically, stay hydrated because if I don't, then my blood cells will get thicker, and because the sickle cell is like blocking off the like the bloodstream and the small veins that carry the red blood cells, it'll make it harder for them to pass through, causing more pain because it's the actual blocking of the stream of blood going to, that causes the actual pain.
So, when you are in like this week, so sometimes your pain crisis will be in your leg, sometimes in your back, but this particular time it was in your arm. So, on a real bad day, how do you feel?
On a real bad day, usually it's kind of hard to sleep and stuff because of the pain. And heating bags help sometimes with that. And this, the pain is, it can be a lot sometimes. You know, you just gotta, I just push through it, But my parents help me with the pain stuff, give me medicine, helping me. Sometimes they like help, like massage my arm and stuff like that, massage my leg. So, but
So I remember when Johnny was maybe third grade, maybe somewhere, but he was elementary school. And I remember his pains would be so bad. Sometimes he would get into bed with my husband and I, and we would literally be um, rubbing his leg, massaging his leg, his back, uh, just things like that to help make him more comfortable through the pain crisis. And it's very difficult, like he said, for him to sleep. Sometimes he had pain crisis when he was younger, that it would be in his leg, and he literally could not walk, barely go up and down the stairs, things like that. But it never stopped him, or his condition has not limited him from being all young man, right? So what I mean by that, like he's still very active. He's in ROTC at his school. He works out. He plays sports. He think he's pretty good at basketball. Um, he said he is pretty good at basketball. Like things like that, we don't box him in. One is because our belief is that God is a healer, and that this is not until death. We know what reports say. We know what the stats say, that once you have sickle cell, you always have that. But I don't believe that there's anything too hard for God, and that is what we tell a Johnny. It's important what we believe. I say that because sometimes the pain crises are very difficult. Sometimes we are functioning with very little sleep because we're up with him, or we're watching him, or we have to medicate him every so many hours. We got to make sure he doesn't get a fever. We're watching for infection. We're watching for all these things. And it causes us to have to take a position of being very observant, of course, always praying. But even in those difficult times when he's in a pain crisis or an active pain crisis, um, if your faith is not solid, it'll make you start believing what statistics say. Like, oh my God, he's going to always have to deal with this. That's not the case. Okay. That's not what we believe. We don't believe that he will always have to deal with that. But we do believe that it's important that he understands how to take care of himself. One is a Johnny is 16 years old. He'll be 17 in December. I can't even believe that. The day after Christmas, he'll be 17 years old. And what happens when he leaves our home and he goes off to college? If we have not educated him on this disease, what to do, how to treat it, how to take care of your body, how to remain hydrated, all these things are important for a Johnny to know when he's getting ready to leave our home, so that he'll go out into the world knowing how to advocate for his own health and wellness. So, Johnny, what type of sickle cell do you have?
SC.
Okay, so a Johnny has SC. So medical providers will, some doctors you go in, they'll just say sickle cell SC, but is technically what they call hemoglobin SC. Or some people, or young adults or adults, will have SS. So SS is a little bit more severe, according to medical providers, what SC is versus SS. So people who have SS are more likely, according to the Sickle Cell Foundation, are more likely to have more higher conditions and more severe pain crisis than the average person who has SS. So if you have a sickle cell trait, a trait means that genetically somewhere a parent somewhere down the line has passed down a trait. So in order for someone to have sickle cell disease, what a Johnny has is SC, means two of the parents have to have a trait, and then a child is passed down genetically um, that way. So that is kind of what it looks like. So there's SC, which is what a Johnny has, and then there's SS. So statistically, we know what's said as it relates to these diseases, but our faith is by his stripes he's healed. We believe that God has allowed certain things in our lives, but it's not to make us doubt that he's God, but it's to encourage us in the faith. But it's also a Johnny's responsibility to know how to take care of himself. But also, just because you have parents that will pray for you and encourage you and do these things for you, that you have to know how to do these things for yourself. Because if he's away from us on a trip with his school, or he's been away sometimes with grandparents, like for our my in-laws would do a grandparent week. He was with my father-in-law one summer in Virginia, and you got sick, right? He was with my father-in-law one summer in Virginia, and my father-in-law was absolutely nervous. He was calling like, "What do I do? What do I do?" He's in the pain. What do I do? And at this time, we can hear Johnny literally screaming in the background, and we're like, "Okay, Dad, um, we need you now to get him in a car and take him to the nearest hospital." And he was like, "Wait, what? Do what? Take him? Can I give him something?" We're like, "Dad, you have his medicine, but at this point, you can't deal with this at home. You need to take him to the hospital." And so that was my father-in-law's first time ever being around a Johnny in a full-blown pain crisis. And so it's important to educate those around you, family and friends and loved ones, of things that you may be experiencing or your children may be experiencing, because his ability to come out of a pain crisis quickly is based off how you respond to the pain crisis. You don't want to continue to let him be in a pain crisis, or anybody with sickle cell, and it goes untreated, right? You don't want to do that. So we know, we ask him, okay, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your pain level? Just like if you're going to go to a hospital and they, take you in a triage and do these things, your pain levels here or there. So what do you do to help keep your body in a good state? So what advice or what tools do you feel like you use to help you prevent from having a pain crisis, or to do your best to help prevent you from having a pain crisis?
I'd say like staying hydrated, as I said before. Eating healthy is also very important. Also, don't like overexert yourself, basically. So if you're just exercising or something like that, then if you know, like you're like overexerting yourself or something, just slow down. And like if it's cold or something, stay warm too, because when it's cold, I'm more likely to have like pain crises and stuff, and when the seasons are changing, stuff like that. So that's some advice if you do have sickle cell and stuff like that to prevent pain crises.
So, what about going to the beach and going swimming?
Um, well, a lot of the times I'll kind of like avoid going into the water because going into like the water and stuff like that is iffy for me. But if you do want to go in the water, I'd say uh, get in for like maybe 10, 10, 15 minutes, then get out, dry off, get warm, make sure you don't get cold stuff. Or you can get like one of those full body suits that you can wear that keep you warm while you're in the water, and you can just wear one of those and go in the water.
So he gave some really good advice. One is staying hydrated. We're very thankful that a Johnny does like water a lot, right? So that's good. We don't have to be like, you need to drink water. He drinks a lot of water naturally. Is because my husband and I have done a really good job of making sure he understands that water, drinking water and remaining hydrated is his best friend. Like he was drinking a Powerade a little while ago. The liquid IV, it's just little liquid IV packets. They are really good, of helping him stay hydrated. Water, um, things that are high in electrolyte is very good. Sodas, we don't even buy sodas like that. Like if I end up having something that I've had maybe after an event, they'll be sneaking and drinking them. That they really should be doing, him and his brothers. But nevertheless, him being hydrated is important to him. It helps his body stay hydrated. Keeps his joints well hydrated, so that it increases his mobility. Um, he's in ROTC, so he does physical workout every day. Do y'all work out on Friday when y'all dress out?
No.
So on Fridays they dress out every day for ROTC, but Monday through Thursday y'all typically working out. So he's working out, in ROTC. And I'll be honest about that. When he first decided he wanted to do ROTC, we were like, oh no. Oh no, because we didn't want to put too much strain on his body to have him be doing all these things and then he comes home every other day and he's in a pain crisis. But we prayed about it and thankfully we talked to his ROTC instructor to like, hey, he has to stay hydrated, he has to keep water bottles with him, things that they're doing very well working with us and making sure he does what he needs to do. If he feels himself getting overexerted, like he said, he really knows how to bring himself down, know the things that he needs to do. Or if for some reason, if he falls, he'd be like, oh, I fell at school today. Okay, how are you feeling? We may want to be proactive and start giving him something so that he doesn't go into a pain crisis. So there's things that we want to encourage him to do on his own, but also as his parents, we have to become advocates for him. And so if you are a parent and you have a child who's who has sickle cell disease, you have to become an advocate for your children. You have to make sure you have great relationships with the school nurses so they'll know what's going on. You have to make sure you communicate at the beginning of the school year, that we do with his teachers. We like, hey, we are Mr. and Mrs. Simmons. We are Johnny's parents. Hey, we're glad that he's in your classroom, but we want to tell you a little bit about Johnny so that if he ever is out for any extended period of time, this is what's going on. Johnny has sickle cell. We have had several teachers to come back and say, okay, I don't know what that is. Can you tell me? Even his ROTC instructor said, I never had a student to have sickle cell. So can you tell me? So sometimes it's us as parents having to uh, educators about what's going on with him. And it's not a bad thing because they don't know everything that goes on with children or the name of all different sicknesses and diseases and things that are out here. But it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that they are aware. Johnny is a great student at school, so he was out this week, and we had to make sure we communicate with the school administration and with all his teachers because he'll have work that he has to make up because he's been out all week. Because when he's out and he's taking medication, most time his body just wants to rest. When you're coming out of a sickle cell pain crisis, you're drained. Okay, so sometimes it's just sleeping, relaxing. We waking him up, we giving him his medication, we making sure he's eating, we make sure he's hydrated. He doesn't have sometimes the physical strength to be up doing schoolwork and those things. Also, I would say whatever hospital or doctor office that you are affiliated with. A Johnny's hospital. What's your hospital?
Children's. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So his hospital that he's been going to since he's been infant is Scottish Rite. I really, really like Scottish Rite Hospital. They do a phenomenal job of taking care of their children who are sickle cell patients. Anytime, day, night, mid morning, wee hours of the morning that we have ever had to go to their emergency room, we never have to sit in their lobby and wait. As soon as we get there, they're like, hey, what's going on? They have an oncology hematology department that they have. We'll tell them what's going on and he's straight to the back. Instantly, when we get there, it's a tag team of very trained professionals that will come in and treat him. They're giving him blankets to warm him up. They're giving him IV fluids. They're on it and they're very prompt. So shout out to Scottish Rite Hospital for doing an amazing job with a Johnny. And they're really good with parents because when parents come in here, you got a lot going on. You got other things, work, business, other children, and they do a really good job of making parents and children very comfortable there at Scottish Rite. So they do a really good job there. So I want to talk about some statistics that I'm going to let Johnny talk to you about because I feel like there are some things that people don't know about sickle cell disease that they need to know about, but also to tear down some myths because sometimes people like, oh, I think you get sickle cell disease from this, or I didn't know that. Like, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you should know this or you should not know this. So Johnny's gonna read some facts um, and some statistics about sickle cell, uh, and then yeah, you can read those and then stop here, and then I can give those. So he's gonna read some facts about sickle cell that you can share with them right quick.
So what sickle cell is a inherited blood disorder, and which like red blood cells they become like sickle shaped, if you
Hmm.
know what that looks like, and hardened. For a baby to be born with sickle cell, both of the parents have to carry the sickle cell trait and or gene for another hemoglobin like HBC or HBE or beta that
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
sickle cell disease is not it's not contagious and there's no universal cure.
So let's get rid of that myth. It's not contagious. So a Johnny can't walk up on you and rub arms with you, and now you have sickle cell. Okay, you can't do that. Okay, it's not like a common cold. It's not transferable through physical contact. All right. I think somebody mentioned that to me a while ago. I was like, no, it's not.
Some facts is 1 in 13 African Americans carry the sickle cell trait, and many don't know they have it. Um, an estimated 100,000 people in the U.S. have sickle cell disorder. Approximately 2,000 babies are born with sickle cell annually in the U.S. On average, uh, diagnosis is made at birth. Uh, People of many ethnic backgrounds can have sickle cell disorder, and Latinos have the second most common in- incidence in the U.S.
So those are some very alarming statistics about sickle cell disease. The statistic that he read, that 1 in 13 African Americans carry the sickle cell trait, and many people don't even know it. So it's important that you know your stats. Like, go to the doctor. Sometimes they take your blood, right? Have you ever seen a trace of sickle cell in my system, right? Uh, these are things you want to know, because if you end up marrying someone and y'all conceive a baby, and this person has a trait and you have a trait and you don't know it and they don't know it, and now you have a child that is born with potential sickle cell disease, then you haven't made yourself aware. So it's important for you to know um, the statistics behind sickle cell. An estimate of 100,000 people in the United States have sickle cell disease. Okay, but remember, 1 in 13 Americans carry the trait, and they don't even know they carry it. Mostly, on average, most hospitals check at birth, but there are a few states that is mandated that they check for sickle cell disease at birth. Every state is not a mandate that they check it. Um, Latinos have the second most common incidence in the U.S. So African Americans are the first normal ones who, according to statistics, are highly likely to carry the sickle cell disease or trait, but Latinos have the second most common incidence of sickle cell. The blockage of flow caused by sickle cells can lead to these kind of complications, according to medics. Um, but we don't believe what, uh, not that we're not knowledgeable, right? It's not that we don't use wisdom, but we just don't believe that this is a Johnny's portion, okay? But it's important that people understand that some of these things are very common among people who have sickle cell disease. Chronic and severe and unpredictable pain. He explained to you that sometimes he does have pain crisis. Anemia, sometimes frequent infections, swelling of the different body extremities, fatigue. Sometimes it's delayed growth. They may have like blurred visions. It's more common in patients who have SS versus SC. SC and SS is both sickle cell diseases, but SS SS is more severe, quote, than SC, what a Johnny has. Lung and tissue damage, sometimes stroke, shortened life expectancy, damage to their hips or their joints. Yeah, but that won't be a Johnny's testimony. Um, but we're thankful. We wanted to just bring awareness to what it looks like. And we're in Sickle Cell Awareness Month, but also because he's currently coming out of a pain crisis right now. It's very different to see it, but it's very different to experience it. And so we wanted to just make sure that we understand that. And he is my why. He's the reason I started juicing because you don't want to always see your children on medication and taking um, severe pain medication to manage things. And we knew that it had to start with his diet. And so when you have anemia or sickle cell disease, it's important that your diet plays a big role in. He would take folic acid every day, all of these things, but having a good diet is really good. So some of the best fruit for patients like a Johnny or people like a Johnny, adult or children, it doesn't vary, that are good for them, of things that they can have, like fruits, good fruits, so like your avocados and your pears, your apricots, your blueberries, your apples, bananas, your dates, cucumbers, raisins, all these things, melons, all these things are really good, right? Watermelon is very high because it's nothing but water. And so it will help hydrate the body. So these are things that we want to talk about. When you have sickle cell disease, SC or SS, they consider you to have a compromised immune system. Okay. It doesn't change our faith. We still believe God, we still believe the report of the Lord, but wisdom, we use that in everything, right? So we're still going to make sure we follow guidelines to help boost his immune system. And so some of the things that help boost their immune system that are really good for that is apples and carrots and orange juice, um, kale and spinach, right? Beets, ginger, turmeric. Those are powerhouses of things to help boost their immune system. Um, you have to make sure you're doing those things, right? A balanced diet is key for him. And this juice, this beet bastard juice was one of the juices that I actually created in mind for him because it has everything that he needs to help boost his immune system. We're so very thankful that even during the time when COVID was out and Johnny has what medical professionals would consider a compromised immune system, Johnny never tested positive for COVID, right?
Right.
He never tested positive for COVID. He never spent a day in the hospital for COVID. He didn't have anything happen to him during the pandemic, and we were blessed. Our family was blessed because no one in our house contacted COVID. And there was one particular time all of our children were at home. Our daughter Kamari wasn't here, but all of our children were our younger children. So my husband and his brothers, Hezekiah and Elias. My mom was here with us for a period of time, and my brother was here with us for a period of time. We had people in our house, and we did our best to like take wellness shots every day, take extra precaution every day to make sure that we didn't do anything that can compromise us, but then him. Because if we have anything that's going on with us, and we bring it in the same house with him, knowing that his system, his immune system is easily compromised, according to medical professionals, then we have to make sure that we take really good care of ourselves so that we don't transfer anything down to a Johnny. So we wanted to come in and talk about why we do what we do. And sometimes what you do, for me, I feel like the juicing portion of this business was never for me. It was to bring another alternative to medication, another alternative to taking over the counter drugs. That's not our first result. Johnny um, has gone years at a time without staying in the hospital, which is amazing because we've done a good job through prayer And through allowing the Holy Spirit to teach us and educate us on what to do for him, it has prepared him for if his body does go into a crisis, how to build up a natural wall of defense. This last hospital visit, we did not have any acute chest. We didn't have any major complications. We just had to get some pain management. We stayed for a little while, but um, we were able to come home, the next day, get some things under control with him. So it has been a week. But by the grace of God, we made it. By the grace of God, we are coming out of the pain crisis. We are at like a 2-3 today. Like a 2-3 today. He's outside walking around and exploring outside like he normally does, and we're thankful. But we wanted to come in and just share our why, but also bring some awareness that is important that you make yourself aware of what's going on with your body. Make sure that the close people who love you know what's going on with you. So that you're not caught in a situation where no one is equipped to handle you if you are in a pain crisis. So, is there anything you want to tell people before you go?
Um, let's see. I'm not really good at talking to
You are
people,
good
but
at talking. Don't say you're not good at talking. You are good at talking. Is something you want to share with people before you go? Anything you want people to know that you feel like they should know? Any words of advice you want to give to people?
um, mm, you have sickle cell, just push through it. Uh, everything will be all right, and just don't let it bring you down. Don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. And that's all I really have to say.
I don't think I could have said it better. Like he said, push through it. Don't let it bring you down, and don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. I think that's a good note. That's a good note. So yeah, thank you for joining our Sickle Cell Awareness Month talk. We are very transparent about our journey. It's not always an easy journey, but it is definitely worth it. If a Johnny's testimony, if a Johnny's words could encourage you, then let it encourage you. If you know someone who has sickle cell or they have sickle cell disease and they may be battling things like this, then share some information with them. It's important to get them to places where they can be properly educated on this disease and what to do, right? Okay. Well, listen, have a rest of your happy Saturday. We're getting ready to go about our day, continue to let him rest and recover, that prayerfully he'll be back at school on Monday, right? Preferably you'll be back at school on Monday. But we're just gonna let his body to continue rest and recover. And we're thankful that he's much better today, that he's just not laying around, that he's really starting to get his energy back. So we thank God for that. So listen, thank you for joining our Sickle Cell Awareness Month talk with my why. Um, our son Ajani, and listen, share and educate your people as much as possible and know your stats, okay? Remember, 1 in 13 people have the trait and they don't even know they have the trait, okay? So next time you get your blood work done at the doctor's, yes, we believe God's report. Yes, we believe that, but we want to use wisdom in everything. We don't want anything to be in our bodies that we are not aware of. So I feel that testing things and blood work like this are a way for us to bring awareness to what's going on with us. Then we know how to pray and then we know how to respond to it. Okay. All right. Listen, have an amazing rest of the day. I love you guys. And thank you for joining our September Sickle Cell Awareness Talk. So have a great day. And yeah, roll tide. That was appropriate at the end of this. Okay. Bye.